Hello, Broken Fencer class. I wanted to talk a little bit about tanking, and you actually can tank in this game. The hammers for the fencer do 90% damage reduction, and the ones that are lower level do 80%. At least the Vulcan hammers do. Sometimes it's actually very useful to be a tank while someone in the back can do sniping or just support. So what I'm doing here, I just wanted to have some fun on this mission, just give it a try and see how long I can stay alive up front. Initially, we were going to try and have him snipe in the back while I was up front distracting, but we figured out that we needed another sniper to ultimately to make this work, so I just wanted to see how long I could stay alive. So what I'm trying to do is, well, I have the finest hammer and I have the Vulcan hammer, and you can do this on hardest or on Inferno with these hammers. I'm playing on hardest with limits on. And so what I'm trying to do is keep an eye on the Hectors, that when they shoot me, to try and be swinging, because how it works is the damage reduction only happens while you're swinging the hammers. So as long as you're swinging, you have 90% damage reduction. And the Vulcan hammer actually swings a very long time. It actually spins up and spins around before it swings. So during that whole spin up time, you're actually receiving damage reduction. Depending on what you're wanting to do, if you're trying to just survive and you have someone to support you with sniping, I would recommend 2 finest hammers, because it's easier to control where you're at with the finest hammers because it lunges you forward. Whereas the Vulcan hammers, they actually spin around, and while you're spinning, if you take damage, they will push you back. The damage will push you back. So, but I'm trying to do damage and trying to be mobile, so that's why I took one of each. But also the benefit of being up front is I'm trying to keep the NPCs alive. So if we had 2 snipers in the back that were just sniping the Hectors and sniping the ships, it would be actually pretty useful for me being up front, because I could be taking all the aggro of the drones and the Hectors while the people in the back are using, you know, nagling to take care of the drones, or just killing the drones and then sniping the Hectors. And then I'm trying to keep the NPCs alive, because the longer they stay alive, the longer it's easier to survive, and also the longer I can stay alive, because the enemies will be attacking them as well. But the key with 2 hammers is you want to always be charging. You want to always be charging the hammers. So what I do is I take my middle fingers and hold down the 2 triggers, and then I use my first finger on the right hand to dash. So what I'm always doing is I'm always holding the 2 triggers down. What I'm doing is I'm dashing and letting go of one of the triggers, and then holding it again to charge it up right away, and then dash and then let go of the other trigger of the hammer and hold it again immediately to charge it up, and then that swings that hammer, and then dash, and then just repeat. So you're constantly holding down the triggers, and you're just briefly letting them go and holding them again between each dash. If you're receiving a lot of damage, you can also just swing the hammers early so that you don't dash in between, so that you're constantly having that damage reduction going. But the benefit of having the finest hammer fully charged is it dashes you forward, so if you... I'm always looking for health items pretty much as the front. I'm always looking for the nearest health kit, and then I'm trying to use my finest hammer to dash me forward towards that health kit to stay alive. And also very important is when your hammers are out, like my Vulcan hammer has 1, now it's 0. As soon as it's reloaded, I swing it immediately. I do not charge it fully. And that's only on the first shot of each hammer, because you don't have time to do an extra charge when you're reloading. So my left hammer, finest, I swing right away, even though it's not fully charged, because I need that damage reduction going all the time. So as long as you keep an eye on the reloads, and whenever you see a reload bar on the top, you just immediately, I'll spam the trigger sometimes just to make sure I swing that as soon as it's reloaded, and then I just continue with the other hammer as normal. But that's a very important part of doing this. If you're just trying to stay alive, like I said, you want 2 finest, or 2 the vibro hammers, they're called, the lower level ones, so that you constantly be moving forward, and the enemies have a hard time hitting you. But this can be very useful on different various missions. Like for example, dragons. It's very good with surviving on dragons, because dragons will land, and if you have finest hammers, they'll just destroy the dragons pretty well. Any mission where there's just a lot of chaos up front and you need someone to snipe for you, you can always do that for them, be the distraction while they're staying in the back and defending. But one thing dangerous though is with missiles is if you do use missiles, it is dangerous to actually to the fencer, because if he gets hit by those missiles, because if say an enemy is being tracked by a missile and it's near you and it hits them and then it knocks you down, then that kind of is a difficulty for you to keep going. I mean, you can always, as soon as you get up, just swing one of your hammers and then dash, and then by the time you dash, the second hammer should be charged. You can continue, but it's still not very helpful for that. But there's a lot of missions where you can be very useful just by distracting the enemy, and it just happens to be a benefit that your hammers are strong too, so you can do damage and you can be a tank, which I feel is kind of broken in this game. I feel like they maybe should have made the damage reduction lower, or should have made the hammers a little weaker, because he seems to have damage and damage reduction, which seems a little unfair. But yeah, this is a second attempt at trying to survive. I noticed that when I wait a little bit in the back before I charge forward, it'd give me more survivability, because the drones wouldn't be attacking me only; they would be attacking some of the NPCs. But yeah, you can still rush forward and pretty much survive. It's not too bad. But one thing that I was having him do was I was having him snipe the Hectors that were near me, so that I'd have a little better chance to survive, because it's hard to keep an eye, obviously, on every single Hector that's attacking you, because sometimes there's two explosive Hectors attacking at the same time. You can't really, it's hard to dodge that. Another thing you can do if you're really in trouble and you need to survive for a little bit of time, I noticed that you don't have to charge the hammers all the way up, except the last shot in the magazine. So say I have two Vulcan hammers and they're both 5 of 5. I can just stand still and not dash in between hammers and just swing back to back, 1, 2, left, right, left, right, left, right. The only one you have to dash and charge in between is the last ones, because if you just do that until you reload, then you're going to be sitting there for a couple seconds with no damage reduction, and that's not good at all. So if you're ever in trouble, you can swing your hammers without dashing in between, just to keep the damage reduction constant, but just make sure you don't have one left in the magazine on either hammer, or you're going to be in trouble. So that's another thing that you can be aware of when you do this. But as you can see, I mean, the survivability is just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, there's so many drones attacking me, and even the ants I can keep alive. The only thing you can't do too well with survivability with hammers is if you have gold ants. They will pretty much destroy you pretty quickly. You can try and use 2 finest hammers and just stay away from them and survive, but it's pretty wise not to try and do this with gold ants unless you have obscene amount of health, which would only work on Inferno anyway. But it works, it works good on Hectors and drones and all that, and on Wasps as well. Silver Spiders can be a little bit rough too, but this is probably most missions, you don't have to deal with that. It's just a matter of surviving. Too many spiders will also kill you too fast with 2 hammers. But as long as you're aware of where they're at, and you can actually circle strafe around the spiders, and it'll still work out. But yeah, I don't actually succeed in this, because like I said, we needed one more sniper to actually stay in the back and help. But if we had another sniper, it'd be pretty simple to do this mission, just having someone distract. Even with the Argo, you can pretty much stay alive with the Argo. Or also King Dragons, when they shoot fire at you while you're in your hammer swings, it's funny how little damage you take with that. It's pretty nice. But yeah, I just wanted to show a little bit of this, and just some ideas about giving it a try. Just being the tank up front is pretty fun. This game is very unique, and I don't think I've played a game where you can actually be in the chaos like this and be survivable and yet still do damage, which is pretty fun. So I think I die pretty soon here. It's like all the NPCs are dead finally now. But most of the enemies are dead here, which is actually, we actually did pretty good here. It's just the second ships. If you don't have a quick attack for the second ships when they come in, they drop some gold ants, and we were gonna try and attempt to make it work, but I think we die right away here. We were trying to do a ranger and fencer run on this on hardest and see what was the best way. But we needed another fencer, or we needed another ranger, I think, ultimately. But yeah, he's still alive, so he looks like he's going to finish off the drones for me, and then we're going to see. He's going to attack the Argo and bring in the next ship, and we're going to see what happens. We're actually, our next attempt at this game of challenge, we're going to try and complete Inferno with Fencer on it. Well, we're going to complete Fencer on Inferno with 5,000 health each. We're going to try and see what we can do, because Fencer is fun, but he can make the missions pretty easy. A lot of the missions pretty easy, just because how strong he is and having that dash cancel ability. It's pretty broken. And all the damage reduction, of course. I'm actually trying to get closer to the Hector, or not the Hector, the Argo as well, and trying to attack him, but he's actually standing in the water, so I can't actually hit him with the hammers. I was kind of curious if I could do damage to him. I've never really tried to use hammers on an Argo. There is a mission on DLC that you could try that, that's the one with 3 giants, but I'd be curious if you could actually survive long enough. I might have to make a video on that, because that sounds fun. But yeah, the gold should be coming out here pretty soon. I think I'd die like almost immediately with the golds, actually. And there's not that many even that drop out. It's just if you're not swinging when they hit you, you're dead. On any difficulty, they will one-shot you, except Inferno, but they do hit for I think 25 or 30,000, so if you don't have more than that, they'll one-shot you there too. Which I like that mechanic, actually. I like having an enemy that can one-shot you in this game, so you're always, you always have to take careful notice of them. Alright, there's the ship, the right ship that has the golds. Let's see how long I can last. He kills the ship. There's only, what, like 3? Yeah, I shouldn't have died here. If I do, I'm pretty sure I die here, but I shouldn't have died here. Yeah, I should have just switched to my dash catapult setup and should have just killed the gold. We would actually beat that. That's too bad. Oh well. I just wanted to share this with you. Give it a try. It's pretty fun. Really fun, actually. And see you next time. Thanks.